If you've ever wanted to find crystals in the wild, this video is for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about how exactly you can get into crystal hunting and how you can be successful at it. Let's dive right in. First of all, what is rock hounding or mineral hunting? Rock hounding is the recreational activity of searching for or collecting rocks, minerals, gemstones, fossils in a natural environment. You can often do it in forests, deserts, creeks, and other wilderness areas, pretty much any area that you want because crystals exist everywhere. The history and the significance of crystal hunting goes back as far as humans have been on the planet. They've been collecting crystals and minerals for centuries for spiritual, decorative, scientific purposes. Even ancient civilizations used them in tools, jewelry, and healing practices. Us as the crystal hunters, we believe in ethical collecting, so leave no trace, and respecting nature. Following the leave no trace principles means minimizing environmental impact. Don't damage habitats, don't over collect, and always fill in your dig holes so nothing gets hurt after you've been there. Like an animal running through the woods and it breaks its leg in your hole. You have to have this required mindset to take care of our forests, but also to be patient, curious, and safe while you're out there mineral hunting. It's often slow and methodical. Patience is key. It's such a frustrating hobby sometimes, but the payoff is priceless with that determination and that persistence. You have to have a pragmatic outlook while you're out there, as do you in pretty much everything in life if you want to win. Your success depends on being observant, staying safe in remote areas, and understanding that not every trip is going to result in a big find. What are some of the tools and equipment that you'll need? We like to have a rock hammer, a chisel, gloves, safety goggles. We like to pack everything in our vehicle. These basic tools allow you to break open rocks, protect yourself from flying debris and sharp edges, but we don't use all of them every day. We just like to have that cache in the vehicle close by because each area has its own individual requirements. And as you get better at crystal hunting, you'll learn what you want on an individual day or a specific area. We like backpacks, we like loops, which is kind of a hand lens or a magnifying glass, sample bags to put stuff in with wrapping paper or extra shirts or sweaters to wrap up all your good finds, and always water. You need endless water, and when you think you have enough, you need more water. You also want to have a lot of water in the vehicle, so if you run out in the field, you can get back and you can just hydrate like crazy. A durable backpack carries your gear and your finds. The hand lens or the jeweler's loop magnifies mineral features, and the sample bags protects your crystals, as well as just being able to wrap them up adequately. Some advanced gear might be a metal detector, a UV light, GPS, or a notebook. Often we think we can get back to a specific spot, but there's been significant overgrowth in the last year, or something in the environment has changed and we have no idea where we're at. A metal detector can help you find or locate metal bearing minerals, whereas UV light might help you find fluorescent minerals like fluorite. GPS helps mark sites, but also helps you while you're in the field. So many times we've been out there and we are completely lost, and it's so nice to be able to utilize technology today to be able to find where you're at in real time. A lot of the tools like Onyx will allow you to download maps even if you don't have service, which is crucial to getting out and being safe. You want to take care of your tools, maintenance, and keep your hammers and chisels sharp and rust free. Make sure that you have the best ability to be able to get in there when you find a good zone. Nothing worse than a dull chisel that won't crack open that rock you want to find, that won't crack open that rock where there's some goodies waiting. And we like to wear gloves and goggles when we're hammering. We avoid striking directly on metal to prevent shattering, but the key is safety first, because no matter what you think, that little shard of glass will shoot into your eye. And when you're deep in the field, that sucks and that can be threatening. It's important to understand what types of rocks and crystal formations you're visiting and what are in geographic areas. 3 types of serious rock formations that you're going to be finding are igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. We like to visit all 3. Each one kind of has its own thing going on in terms of what types of minerals you'll find there. The igneous rocks form from cooled magma like granite, which is where we spend most of our time. But a sedimentary rock form, is compressed of sediments like sandstone, and metamorphic rocks are altered by heat and pressure like schist. Crystals form from heat and pressure and evaporation and cooling, and crystals grow when minerals slowly solidify from liquids or gases. Factors like slow cooling, solution saturation, or chemical changes create well-formed crystals. And so in perfect environments, that's where you're going to find the gem quality that you're really looking for. Environments where crystals are most commonly found would be like crystal-rich areas that include hydrothermal veins, volcanic regions, pegmatites, coarse-grained igneous rock, and sedimentary deposits like evaporative beds. This isn't so important to know right up front while you're going out to find crystals, but you can always use this as kind of a guide as you get more teched out and you become more of an expert. This will also help you find these areas that hold these specifics in terms of then being able to go chase the minerals that you want to find. So recognizing host rocks is important. Like, oh, I know where there's quartz, or I know where there's a pegmatite. And these host rocks are larger rocks that contain crystal pockets or veins. Quartz veins, for example, often hold gold or other minerals. So as you get better at diagnosing an area and what type of terrain it really is, i.e. igneous or metamorphic, then you'll also be able to go after the crystals that you want with better clarity. As you're reading the land, geology or terrain clues, identifying mineral-rich zones in nature, you want to look for the areas with exposed rock, color variations in soil. We always say, chase the color. Look for white rocks on the ground. Look for push-ups that look like the earth has literally burped up a big pile of white rocks. Unused shapes in the terrain or known geological formations. Using topographic and geologic maps is also a great tool. Topographic maps show elevation and terrain. They help you find cliffs and rock outcroppings. Geologic maps identify rock types and fault zones where crystals may occur. Land features to look for. You want to look for exposed bedrock, dry washes, old mine tailings, hillsides, any road cuts from construction. Exposed bedrock gives you direct access to mineral-bearing layers. So a lot of that hard work has been done for you. Imagine digging 50,000 feet into the earth where, some giant machinery has already done that work for you. It's priceless. Dry washes concentrate minerals after water erosion. So many times we're on a claim and it'll have been raining for the last few days and we'll see crystals that have been exposed from that fresh water. Tailings are leftover rock piles from mining, which often hold overlooked specimens. Hillsides can expose mineral veins from erosion. Signs of quartz veins, geodes, and mineral-rich soil where there's quartz veins often appear as white or clear streaks in rock. I know a lot of times you've been driving along and you're like, wow, look at all that white rock. That's quartz and that's gold bearing and that might have crystals in it. Geodes look like round rocks, but they may be hollow with crystals inside. Mineral-rich soil may appear stained, reddish or greenish hues. All these are clues for you to get better at finding crystals. So where do we go, you ask? Where are the best places to search for crystals? Well, I've kind of already talked about that in terms of being able to identify the areas. Like, I know that this mountain range is rich in granite, so I know there's crystals there, etc. But, any public lands are usually good to go versus private lands. You want to obtain permission on private lands. Public lands like the U.S. National Forests or BLM lands often allow recreational collect. Private lands require that permission from the landowner. National forests and BLM land, these lands usually permit small-scale collecting for personal use, but you want to check with regulations for each specific area. Rivers, creeks, beaches, deserts, and mountains, waterways can expose and transport crystals for millions of years. Deserts often contain exposed geologic layers, and mountains and highlands are home to pegmatites and mineral-rich zones. All these are great examples of how you can look for crystals or minerals anywhere. Abandoned mines and road cuts. Old mines and road cuts expose underground mineral veins. Always be cautious because mines are dangerous and require safety precautions or permits. And we suggest Googling the dangers that mines and claims hold because you have no idea. Even from mixed gases on the floor that can explode to not being able to breathe in these areas or possible collapses, these are all real concerns and you need to study these before you take on the risk. International hotspots like Brazil, Madagascar, and Mexico, famous crystal locations. Brazil is famous for amethyst and tourmaline. Madagascar yields quartz, celestite, and labradite. Mexico is known for agate, obsidian, and fluorite. These are well-known locations and you can go after these spots and go and vacay there and find some amazing stuff if that's what you're into or if you're dead serious about finding crystals. Identifying common crystals and minerals. Characteristics of hardness and luster, streak, cleavage, color. The hardness, which is the Mohs scale, measures how scratch resistant a mineral is. Luster describes surface shine, like metallic or glassy. Streak is the color of the mineral's powder. Cleavage refers to how it breaks. Color can be misleading, but is still useful. Popular finds like quartz, clear, smoky, amethyst, rose, calcite, fluorite, pyrite, garnet, beryl. These are all common in wilderness areas, and you can find them anywhere. Quartz varieties are widespread. It's like the second biggest mineral on the face of the planet after feldspar, and it's everywhere. Calcite, one of our favorites, often forms in limestone. We go after it all the time. It's gorgeous. It comes in multiple colors. And pyrite, fool's gold, is shining metallic. We love how the habits form. Beryl includes emerald and aquamarine, also one of our favorites. And you can identify some of these things easily by studying videos like this. And there's a lot of books and helpful information out there that's all free for your consumption. Identification tools, hardness kits, streak plates. Hardness kits include items like a steel nail or a glass plate to test hardness. A quartz crystal is about a 7 on the Mohs scale to give you an idea, where a fluorite might be like a 2 or a 3. It's very soft. Streak plates help identify minerals by the color of their streak. Photography and cataloging your finds often includes documenting crystals that help track the origins, ID progress, and share your collection. Include your date, location, type, and conditions. This can often spark others to share amazing spots with you as well. And consider seasonal strategies and weather considerations when you're out there crystal hunting. The best season and times of day to rock hound are spring and fall. Other ideal temperatures, are around those seasons, but midsummer sometimes can get to be a bit hot. Early morning light helps you see glimmering minerals better. So does that 5 o'clock sun. We said after a rainfall, fresh exposures and erosion reveal the crystals. Rain loosens soil and exposes hidden crystals. Stream beds often shift and deposit new material. And, there's cold and hot climates. What to expect? Cold regions may be a frozen rock layer, cracking them naturally, but in hot areas, dry erosion makes surface hunting easier. You must carry water though, right? And protect from heat, because dehydration and heat stroke is real. Trust us, we've been there. Weathering and how it exposes the mineral veins. Weathering is the natural breakdown of rocks by wind, rain, temperature changes, often revealing hidden crystal pockets over time. So if you see a glimmer in the ground, don't be afraid to check that out. Chances are it's a beautiful crystal. So prospecting techniques and field methods, surface prospecting, scanning exposed rocks and gravel beds while you're walking and visually scanning the ground. Rock faces or stream beds for crystals on or near the surface are easily identifiable if you're looking for them. Digging techniques such as test holes, trenching near outcrops. These test holes allow you to check beneath the surface. Trenching involves digging alongside veins to follow crystal-bearing layers. Use sieves and classifiers in stream beds. These tools help you filter gravel and sand. You can isolate heavier, larger mineral specimens from debris. Make sure to safely break rocks and split geodes with precision. Use these chisels and hammers carefully, always with protective gear. Make sure your chisel is sharp. Geodes can be split using tile saws or controlled forces to reveal their inner crystals. Where we find geodes are so big that we actually have to crack them on the spot, but each location is different. And document your search site. GPS it, pin it. Make sure you know exactly where you found that trove of treasures, and this ensures you can return to this promising location and track your progress over time. Guys, if you're liking this video and you're finding value in it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to get more helpful tips in the future and help us grow our channels, we love you for it. And lastly, don't forget legal and environmental considerations. Collecting laws by country or state. Laws vary widely. Some places allow small collecting, others prohibit any removal. Always check with local agencies. Mining claims and rights. In some countries like the US, individuals can file mining claims on public lands. Collecting from an active claim without permission is illegal, so make sure that if it's your claim, you're not allowing anyone to pirate or claim jump, and if you are the claim jumper, then you suck. Permits for collecting on public lands. Some national or state parks require permits, even for casual collecting. Others ban it outright, so make sure you know where you're at. Environmental stewardship and responsible collecting. Avoid habitat destruction. Only collect what you need. Don't disturb wildlife or leave trash behind, and make sure you know how much you can take and where you can't dig. Some lands allow for a reasonable amount of personal use, but never dig in protected areas like national forests where it's not permitted. Other than that, get out there, have fun, use these tips and tricks, follow along, subscribe to our channel so you know exactly what you're doing, and you will get better and better. Back in the day, we used to collect a chip or two and we'd come home and we would just become emotionally attached to it and love that chip forever. But now we actually find crystals. Whether it's frustrating or it tests your patience, it's worth it in the end. And all it takes is that one beautiful crystal or that one amazing pocket to get you hooked on rock hounding for life. So we hope you enjoy this video, how to go find your own crystals in the wilderness. We love you. Thanks for subscribing. Peace out.